Okay, in the last module, we learned how to transform data. And now what I want to do is explain and show how one might summarize the data that you have in your data set. In my field and in many fields, one thing that you'll need to do is provide summary statistics in terms of means and standard deviations. In addition, we often have to, or we're required to include correlation matrices. So I just want to run through how one might do that. So we have this data set, RM data, and what I want to do is just select the three variables that we're really interested in: happy, job satisfaction, and job stress. And you can see here that I'm using the subset command that I introduced earlier. So we want to take just some of the variables this time. Remember last time we selected based on group ID number. So we selected on the observations. Now we're selecting variables because honestly, we don't care too much about the means and standard deviations of the ID variables, whether it's the individual ID or the group ID. Let me just show that again. So we don't really care about these. So we're just going to select three variables. And we're going to call this new data frame X. Right? And so now you'll see we have a data set of X, 1,000 observations, 3 variables. And in base R, we can use the summary command. And this summary command, you'll see the output down here. It will give you the mean, the median, the max, and the first and third quartiles, okay, for all of them. Now, it's not exactly all that we need, right? We'd like a little more information. One of the packages I really like is the psych package. And so what I'd like you to do is, again, go back to packages, go to install, and type in psych, okay? And you're going to install that package. And I'm going to show you why in a second I like it so much. So it has, if you need to, hit pause. But what I want to do is show you the describe command in psych. This is in the psych package. Now I need to be careful. I almost did not load the package using the library command. And so now the package is loaded and I'm going to use describe. Now this provides more information than just the base package, which is why I like it. You can see here the means, the standard deviations, which are not up here, the medians, min-max range, and then it also gives skewness and kurtosis, which I like to look at. These are normally distributed variables, so we don't have much skewness or kurtosis when it comes to this. So that's a way to get means and standard deviations and just other kind of summary statistics about this data set. So now what I want to do is look at the correlations. Now we can do that using core parentheses X. Pretty simple command. And you can see it will now give you the correlation matrix. It will give you the correlation matrix that shows all three variables, and you can identify the different correlations between each pair. Now, you can also use just a section of the variables, or I should say a selection of the variables. In this command, we have core, the RM data. Okay, it's the bigger data set. You can see it has 9 variables up here. And we're going to select just 3. So that's a way to do it, okay? And it gives you the same thing. So you don't have to create a new data set like I did. You can just select the variables that you want. Now, something that's also important to keep in mind is that sometimes if you have missing data, you're going to have to use this use equals complete obs option. So again, it produces the same thing. But if you had missing data, you would get NAs, okay, and you'd get some errors in this. So you just want to make sure that you use this command basically whenever you do it. And then finally, I'm going to show you, this is not pretty, okay? That's hard for me to read, actually. There's so many decimal places there. So this is a way to round using 2 digits. And that looks much better, right? Easier to interpret. So and this is not a pretty code. Like, I'm not going to lie and say this is like, oh, that's really intuitive how you write that. It's not. But here's the key. Like, you have the code now. Like, you can change this easily. If you want three digits, just change it to 3. Okay, and now you have 3. You can do whatever you want, depending on whatever conventions the journals that you want are demanding. So, but you have enough now between the describe command and the round command to create summary statistics in terms of mean, standard deviations, and correlations between the variables. So with that, you have enough for the kind of the table 1 for most papers. And in the next section, though, R is going to start to get really cool when we start talking about how to actually visualize the data.